Breaking news: the Federal Reserve has just made an announcement that could shape the economic landscape in the coming months. In a move that has become somewhat predictable, the Federal Reserve has decided to keep the key interest rate unchanged. This marks the fifth consecutive meeting where the rate has held steady at between 5.25% to 5.5%. This decision is not made lightly, nor is it made in a vacuum. The Federal Reserve is always keenly aware of the economic climate, and this decision is a clear reflection of that. Now you might be asking, why keep the rate unchanged? Well, the answer is twofold. Firstly, the Federal Reserve is aiming to combat inflation. Inflation, simply put, is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and subsequently, purchasing power is falling. By keeping the interest rate steady, the Federal Reserve is trying to balance the economy and keep inflation at bay. But that's not all. The Federal Reserve has also maintained its forecast of 3 rate cuts in the year 2024. These cuts are not guaranteed, but they are projected, which means that the Federal Reserve believes there will be room for them in the economic landscape of the coming year. This decision to keep the rate unchanged while forecasting rate cuts is a delicate balancing act. It's a clear sign that the Federal Reserve is taking a cautious approach. They're keeping an eye on the economy's resilience, its ability to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions, while also striving to ensure sustainable inflation levels. In the world of economics, every decision has far-reaching impacts. The Federal Reserve's latest decision is no different. It's a move that could shape the financial landscape for months, even years to come. This decision reflects the Federal Reserve's cautious approach, balancing the need for economic resilience with sustainable inflation levels. Now, let's delve into the details of the meeting that led to this decision. The room buzzed with anticipation as the Federal Reserve's March meeting commenced. This isn't just any gathering, it's a convergence of some of the most influential minds in the country's economic sphere. The key players present include the Federal Reserve Chair, the Board of Governors, and the presidents of the Federal Reserve banks. Each person in that room holds the power to sway the tide of our nation's economy. The atmosphere was thick with the weight of responsibility, yet there was a sense of collective determination. The primary items on the agenda were clear: to discuss the current interest rate, the looming threat of inflation, and the overall health of the economy. These are not topics taken lightly. Every word spoken, every piece of data analyzed is done so with the utmost care and consideration. These meetings are not just about economic jargon and percentage points, they're about people's lives, their livelihoods. When these economic titans sit down to discuss policy, they're shaping the financial landscape of the nation. The decisions made here can affect everything from the price of your morning coffee to the stability of your retirement savings. The importance of these meetings cannot be overstated. They serve as the economic compass guiding the country's financial ship. They determine the direction we sail in, whether it's towards a period of growth and prosperity or a time of economic uncertainty. In this meeting, the Federal Reserve decided to keep the key interest rate unchanged. This decision was made in the face of rising inflation, a testament to the resilience of the economy. It's a move that shows the Federal Reserve's commitment to sustainable inflation levels, even in challenging times. The room may have been filled with tension, but it was also filled with resolve. Each person present understood the gravity of their role, the impact of their decisions. They knew that the eyes of the nation and indeed the world were on them. As you can imagine, these meetings are high stakes, with every decision having a significant impact on the economy. The Federal Reserve's economic projections provide a glimpse into what we can expect in the near future. As we delve into the heart of the matter, let's tackle the Federal Reserve's economic projections. The crystal ball of the financial world, so to speak. The Fed, in its wisdom, anticipates economic growth of 2.1% in 2024 and 2% in 2025. Modest figures, you might say, yet they are reflective of a steady, resilient economy, one that can withstand the ebb and flow of global economic dynamics. Now let's talk about inflation. It's that pesky little monster that keeps economists up at night, isn't it? Well, the Fed expects the inflation rate to end 2024 at 2.4%. Now that's a figure worth pondering. It's higher than what we've seen in recent years, signaling a cautious approach by the Fed. But what does this mean for you and me? Well, it could mean a variety of things. For starters, it might lead to slight increases in the cost of goods and services. On the other hand, it could also stimulate economic activity as businesses adjust their strategies to keep pace with inflation. And let's not forget about the potential impacts on the job market. With a growing economy, businesses might need more hands on deck, which could potentially lead to job growth. But with higher inflation, employers might also need to raise wages to keep up with the cost of living, a balancing act that's as delicate as it is crucial. So, where does that leave us? In the realm of calculated anticipation, my friends. The Federal Reserve's projections are not just numbers on a page, they are a roadmap, a compass pointing us towards possible economic scenarios. These projections are not set in stone, but they do provide some direction for where the economy might be headed. Let's keep our eyes on the horizon and our minds open to the possibilities. After all, in the world of economics, the only constant is change. The Federal Reserve doesn't make these decisions in a vacuum. Many factors influence their actions. Let's delve into some of these driving factors. First up, we have consumer price trends. This is all about looking at how much goods and services are costing us. When prices rise rapidly, it's a sign of inflation. The Fed aims to keep inflation steady, ensuring that our money retains its purchasing power. By keeping a close eye on consumer price trends, the Fed can gauge inflationary pressures and adjust its policies accordingly. Next, we have labor market conditions. This involves looking at things like employment rates and wage growth. If the job market is strong with low unemployment and rising wages, it's a sign of a healthy economy. However, if unemployment is high and wages are stagnant, it's a sign that the economy may be struggling. The Fed uses this information to help stabilize the economy, promoting maximum employment and moderate long-term interest rates. Finally, we have global economic dynamics. We live in an interconnected world, where economic events in one country can have ripple effects across the globe. The Fed takes into account global economic dynamics, including trade policies, currency exchange rates, and international financial market trends. These factors can impact the U.S. economy and in turn influence the Fed's decisions. So, you see, the Federal Reserve's decisions are influenced by a complex web of factors, and it's a delicate balancing act. They're not just looking at what's happening right now, but also anticipating what could happen in the future. Understanding these influences can help us make sense of the Federal Reserve's decisions and what they mean for us. And that's crucial because these decisions impact everything from the interest rates on our mortgages to the returns on our investments. So, the next time you hear about the Fed's latest decision, remember, it's not just about numbers and percentages. It's about the bigger picture, and we're all a part of it. Let's recap the key points from today's news. The Federal Reserve has decided to keep its key interest rate between 5.25% and 5.5%, holding steady for the fifth consecutive meeting. This decision underscores the Fed's ongoing attempt to counteract inflation, while also signaling its caution due to the resilience of the economy and the necessity to maintain sustainable inflation levels. Looking ahead, the Fed maintains its forecast of 3 rate cuts in the year 2024. This is a clear indication of its strategy to manage inflation and stimulate economic growth, despite the challenges posed by the current economic environment. Speaking of growth, the Fed has projected an economic expansion of 2.1% in 2024 and 2% in 2025. These figures reflect the Fed's confidence in the resilience and potential of our economy in the coming years. On the topic of inflation, the Fed expects the year 2024 to conclude with a rate of 2.4%. This is a crucial figure for both policymakers and investors, as it directly influences the cost of goods and services as well as the value of money. In shaping these decisions, the Fed weighs various factors including trends in consumer prices, conditions in the labor market, and the dynamics of the global economy. These elements form a complex interplay that influences the Fed's actions and ultimately, the direction of our economy. With these insights, we can better navigate the economic landscape and make informed decisions. Stay tuned for more updates on the Federal Reserve's actions and what they mean for you.